Hey YouTube, I am here with my first episode of Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 1. So, we're being introduced to the couples, and I kind of want to go through everybody. I made notes. I actually was diligent. So, and then I'm going to kind of give some commentary about some of the undercurrents that I see, that's going on. And hopefully, we'll be able to move through anything that I think that I see. I hope I'm wrong because I always, I love. And I want all these guys, to be successful. Another thing I'll say, before I start is I actually am really hopeful. I did not think I would be this hopeful, for these couples this season, especially after last season. But it's really, it's nice. I like it. I like that. I like the couples. And we'll see, where the season goes. So, we're looking first couples, Lindy and Miguel. And so Lindy starts out the gate letting us know that she was raised SDA, and she's an overthinker, and she picks emotionally unavailable men, and the family, didn't seem, too enthusiastic, and that's kind of like a thing, with me. I actually, like to see how the families are engaged and interacted, with this whole process. So if you hear me talking about that, then that's where I'm coming from. So her friends say that she needs to, have a person that's able to deal with her when she has low glucose. So she's get hangry. She didn't eat and she forgets to eat, or something goes on, she's too stressed out to eat, then it's just gonna snowball into something else. So the partner needs to make sure that she has her glucose stable, and then they, will be able to weather some of the other stuff, that's going on. And if the partner doesn't really pick up and recognize that, then that's going to be a problem, later on. Because she shuts down and she, kind of caves into whatever it is going on in her mind. Like if she's highly anxious, this, that, and the third. And she actually wants to have kids. So I guess that's maybe like a deal breaker for her if the guy doesn't, want to have kids. So Miguel, he really seems, like really, I don't want to say, he has a mixture of masculine and feminine energy. So I actually appreciate guys, like that. Now that I'm 52, I actually can appreciate a man that is in touch, with a feminine, part of himself that allows him to be able to connect to me, versus just being a alpha dude and living in his testosterone, world, and allowing me to exist, around it. Yeah, I'm not interested in those kind of guys anymore. If I was, that sail, the ship has gone. The horse is way out of the barn, all the way down. I can't catch that joker no more. Okay, the milk has been spilled, and I'm just not interested in that kind of man anymore. The extra alpha. I mean, because I actually really do appreciate, a lot of stuff that guys don't. I really do. I mean, I grew up on a farm, and I grew up in a rural, community. So I do appreciate the knowledge of men and mechanical and all of that. I also appreciate and understand the knowledge of women. And I appreciate a man that recognizes what women can bring, to his table. So Miguel, he's a game master. He plays Dungeons and Dragons. I'm just understanding this sphere of people. I know that they've been out there, for a while. I've been watching this show on, I think it's HBO, called Stranger Things. I think it's HBO. It might be Netflix. But yeah, I get confused. Yeah, so in that show, which is really cute, about kids, growing up in the 80s and, how they were, their lore for games, Dungeons and Dragons, kind of led them, into this whole adventure. So I actually really appreciate that. And he seems balanced. It seems crazy when you look at him, in the initial part of him introducing, himself. And then when he told his friends, they didn't seem excited, which was, a little sad because he's really, I think, exercising his options to try to find, what he's looking for. And he realizes that he actually needs help. So that's the thing that I really like about this series, is that people understand that the things that they're doing aren't working, and they're willing to do something else in order to get that thing that they really feel that they want, for themselves. My thing is, once you get into the situation, how committed are you to making it work? Because in the last season, when I think about Michael, he actually told Pastor Cal that he has the ability to sabotage himself. He doesn't put forth the kind of energy that he needs to do in order for him to get the result from the relationship, that he wants. And that manifested itself throughout the whole season. And I just think that his stubbornness really cost him a serious opportunity, just being stupid. And so that's the thing. I want to see how it unfolds during the season. Who's going to take this seriously? Because in the last season, the only person I actually saw taking it seriously was Katina. And the only reason why she was successful is because social media helped put a foot into her whatever. I can't stand this joker. Social media helped Katina have the opportunity that she is living in, right now. And all I can say is I hope that, she's not being abused. I've seen a couple of pictures and she seems happy. So I'm happy if she's happy. And I'm going to leave it, right there. But anyway, so he, like Lindy, is bad at picking relationships. His friends say that he forces love, even when the situation tells him that he shouldn't be forcing, that. And he doesn't want to pick up on red flags. So he says that he actually is a former scientist. He has a PhD. He's a neuroscientist. And he left that research field to become a medical writer. And he considers himself a family person. And they showed him in the gym, doing his athletic, thing. He wants an open-minded person who's also a good listener. So we're going to go to Alexis and, excuse me, Justin. So Alexis is 5'10", which is really tall, for a woman. Because I'm only 5'4", so I'm very short. And a lot of these people in the couples that we're looking at, a lot of them are very athletic. So we're in San Diego, very California. People tend to be, health conscious out here, especially the more successful you are, then the more focused I see people being on their physical, health. So these are all high income, high earners, very motivated, people this season. So that's going to be, really interesting. But looking at Alexis, she has a dog, and she is like what I used to be. I used to be like this tomboy. So I actually had, more guy friends than I had, girlfriends. So this is her. And so she considers herself transparent and direct. She got proposed to 3 times, and each time she had cold feet. And in her thinking, she said that her idea of what she thought a relationship was supposed to be, it wasn't what was presented to her at that time. So now she has a different understanding about relationships and what she understands a healthy relationship to be. So now she's in a different place than she was when she got proposed to. So I can understand that, I actually can identify with what she's talking about, especially, coming from a home where she says that she knew that her parents no longer loved each other, but they were just staying together to try and keep a stable environment for her and her siblings. So when I think she's the baby, so when she turned 18, then the parents were like, okay, got you through high school, now you on your own, and we're gonna go and do our own thing. And the kids were like, yeah, okay, about time y'all decide, that this is what you're gonna do. So she can understand a aspect of relationship that is not healthy, even if 2 people decide that they're going to stay, with each other. It's still not an environment that produces the kind of life that she wants, in her own marriage. So this is going to be really, interesting, to look at, see how serious, she is, how deep she is, or how shallow, because Justin is like this super tall dude, and I think he has a measure of confidence, but then he also has a measure of where he questions, because his brother is not supportive of this process at all. I mean, he is downright belligerent, about it. And part of it, we understand, is because he's being protective, of his brother, because he wants him to make good decisions. And so even Justin says that his brother is like, even like a father figure, for him. And so there's a dynamic there between them that is special. And so when you look at the episode, you kind of see his brother, being extra. And this is it's big. I mean, not only are you marrying someone that you don't know, you're doing it on national television. And people are going to be able to look at you and critique you and tell you, all the things that you aren't and that you are, and it's a lot. So his brother actually sees a lot of weight behind this decision that I don't think that Justin, really understands, at this point. So it seems like he's athletic, and I get it because he's so tall. His limbs are not, they, people think there's a stereotype about tall people. So tall guys are automatically supposed to want to play basketball. And that's not true. And we have to stop doing that, to these guys. We have to stop um, pressuring them and making them feel like because they don't like basketball, then they're wasting their height, they're wasting their opportunity. I understand some of that on a level, and I feel his pain, with that. And so I hope that one of the things that people learn out of all of this is to stop stereotyping tall people and automatically, asking them, are they basketball players or are they, into some kind of sports? Because just because they're tall doesn't necessarily mean that they're athletic. And we need to kind of let that go and just let them, be tall. Let them be who they are and just let it go and celebrate them, for whatever contributions, that they're making, to society, whether we agree with it, like, or not, Life is not about sports. If he's out there doing some important work, then that's the most important, thing. Not whether or not he's an athlete. And so, let me see. Tall, 6 feet plus. He said he wants a woman. He wants to be able to connect with them, not just on the physical level, but on the mental level. And I understand that because, again, we're looking at the physical. A lot of people come at him on the physical. Physical this, physical that, physical, physical, physical. And one thing I actually like about this guy is that he reminds me of Bernie Sanders. Not Bernie Sanders, sorry, Bernie Mac. His smile and his facial affect reminds me of Bernie Mac. So black people out there know who Bernie Mac is, and hopefully, you can get with me, on what I'm seeing, in him. But I think he's cute. I'm from Alabama, so I there is a level of connection that I feel, with him. And I really honestly hope that they are one of the couples that actually makes it. I'm not sure because Alexis, seems like she is a whole lot. And if he can maintain where he is right now with her, then they actually might work. If their personalities, start to conflict, with one another, I can actually see that too. So I can see it working and I can see it not working, just depending, on how everything, kind of goes. So, he said he wants a mental and emotional connection. He wants a challenge, and he wants a nurturing, relationship. And he fears that his wife will not be attracted to him. And when we look at, because they were the first couple to get married, so I could actually see some of his concern. He doesn't feel any of that concern right now from this episode, that we're seeing. But if what I saw with their just immediate wedding and just the 15-minute, 20-minute, whatever aftermath of the wedding, I can see why and how his concerns could be a concern later. So we'll see, how that goes. So looking at Christian and Mitch. So Christian, she also has a dog. Oh, and I forgot to mention that both Alexis and Justin have dogs. So they're both dog parents, which I think is great. And so Christian also has a dog. And Mitch, I don't know, he doesn't have any animals. So her friends weren't really excited, either. And they were even less excited when she said that she was going to wait to tell her dad on the day of the wedding that she was getting married. Just ridiculous. I think it's a bad idea. We'll see, how the dad responds, in the next episode. So, not sure. We'll leave that one on the shelf. And she was dating somebody for 5 years, and she was supposed to get married to them. And so she found out that he was cheating on her just before their wedding, and they called it off. And all the money that she invested into the honeymoon and all of that, she was able to kind of turn that around. And she invited her friends, and they all went on her honeymoon with her, and it turned into this whole big event that ended up being a positive, for her, which I really am grateful that happened for her, because that's pretty amazing. Most people would go the opposite way if they were doing all this planning and talking and doing, and then it didn't work out. Instead of her retreating into her pain, she actually took her pain and she used it, for something, positive, and it ended up giving her affirmation that she was loved and cared for, by her friends, even if her fiance, didn't see her as the valuable person, that she is. And so she's the oldest child. She also wants children. She comes from parents who are divorced, but she's still optimistic, about marriage. And one of the things that she talked about when they were, I think this was when they were having the bridal party. I'm not sure. I want to say it was when she talked about, oh no, maybe it wasn't, because they actually met up. They actually met up before they actually had the bridal shower. In either case, she was saying that she's worried about men who are over 40 who've never really kind of been in a relationship, and if this is a guy that she's running into, that this is his first foray into a serious relationship, that would actually cause her, some concern. So enters Mitch, who is 41, and he's never been in a serious, relationship. So this is going to really be interesting, to see if he's actually ready. And part of my concern, with Mitch, is same thing, with Alexis, is that he kind of doesn't have a filter, with his mouth. So we'll kind of see. I actually like some of the feedback that he had for the other guys when they went, and played volleyball, with each other, just kind of icebreaker. And I thought that his analysis, was pretty good. I thought his communication, was good. So hopefully it's not something that's a serious, issue, and that it'll be something that Christian will be able to get with, and they'll be able to find their way, to each other to build a relationship. So his dad died, and he has taken the opportunity within these years to grow closer to his family. He's a surfer. He's an environmentalist. He's an activist for clean oceans and beaches. And he says that he didn't date a lot because he really kind of got, wrapped around his work. And he has really opened up to having kids because he actually had to take care of his nieces, for a couple of years. And so when he told his family, they were mildly excited. And so he considers himself a late bloomer as far as like serious dating. And it may point to commitment issues. So we'll actually see. We'll see. So he wants a strong woman who actually speaks their mind. And so the next couple is Morgan and Ben. And so Morgan is half Japanese, and she actually has a cat. So she, which is really weird, you know what I mean, is that she is a big video game, person. And so, again, she's athletic, and she does this. It's not Tai Chi, it's something else, but it's kind of in the family of Tai Chi. And so she is a nurse, and she's had challenges. She had life challenges that she's had to go through, which I think is really character building. And she's really kind of connected, to her Japanese, heritage. And so she talks about that. And she considers herself independent and strong. So Ben, again, athletic. I don't know if he considers himself a mama's boy, but his description of his relationship with his mother gives me the impression that he's a mama's boy. And he likes hiking, he likes the beach, he's adventurous, and he's cheap. And I'm going to tell you, I hate a cheap man. I can't. I like someone who's thrifty, I don't mind, and I do. I cut corners, and I try to save as much money, as I can. And so I don't mind that. But I still, if there's something of pleasure to be had, and I can afford to have it, I'm going to go have it. I'm not going to not have pleasure because I value having money more. And so he needs a balance, with that. Because I've been with cheap people, and I can't stand a cheap man. Oh my, yeah. I don't even know. If this comes up during the season, I'm letting it be known that it's like a thing with me. So I hope I don't have to be confronted with being ridiculously cheap. It's just disgusting. And you're never going to woo a woman being cheap. I mean, especially a woman you don't know. She's coming from somewhere and you know nothing about her, and then you want her to accept you being cheap. Okay, yeah, no. And so his friends seemed like they were excited, for him when he gave them the announcement, which was interesting. But they still called him out about being cheap, too. So I thought that was interesting. And so we're gonna go to Stacia and Nate. I think these are the last two couples, which is really interesting. So this is a couple that I'm really fascinated, about, because they actually are on the same, they have the same goals, but they manage to get there in different ways. So Nate came to his capitalistic mindset through a cycle of of hard knocks. He came up hard knocks. I think Stasia came through hers from college, and then from college she was able to kind of figure out, her way to get to where she is successfully, that way. But they both have found a measure of success their own way, and now they both want a partner that will allow them to build like this dynasty. They want to be a power couple. She wants to have a partner so that she's in a power couple, and he wants to find a partner so that he's in a power couple. So we'll see, how they actually mesh. And I'm going to share, like a video about them. I guess we can do it. Yeah. Well, we'll do it in a minute. So I want to wait till we get to the bachelor and bachelorette parties. So Stasia is a businesswoman. She feels like she's a boss. And she was raised by her stepdad up to a certain point. So her parents decided that they wanted to make a life change, and they wanted to go, move to another area. But she was in high school, she was in activities, and she didn't want to disrupt her life in order to help them live theirs. So she emancipated, herself, and she stayed with a friend of hers and their family until she graduated, high school, which I think actually was pretty bold. I mean, when I grew up, if I knew and understood the idea of emancipation, I would have done that, and I would have walked away from my family. I would have done that. Yeah, I would have done that, and I just would have walked away. And I mean, I wish I had known. I wish I had known, about it, instead of having to suffer and stay in Alabama, until I was 20. I left when I was 20, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made, leaving, Alabama. Anyway, she considers herself a coffee addict, and she considers herself a success addict, and she wants at least 2 kids. And her mom asked her if she were willing to do a post-nuptial agreement, because she can't do a prenup because she doesn't know her groom, or she doesn't know her fiance. So it would have to be a post-nup. So this is going to be interesting to see that conversation between them, her bringing up, a post-nuptial, agreement. And she said that if he didn't sign, or he didn't want to do a post-nup, then that would be like a deal breaker, for her. And she's looking for someone who's reliable, loyal, and honesty is a must. So Nate, which is really interesting to see all this confidence, with these guys, because Nate nor Justin are really attractive, to me. But they come with this level of confidence that is really interesting. And so, yeah, even when Nate is at the bachelor party, I'm looking at him like, really? Dude, for real? I mean, for real. Anyway, so he told his friends, and they seemed excited, which I thought was cool. I love it, when the families, get behind them. He is an entrepreneur, and he is focused on sales. He considers himself a risk taker. Again, athletic. He considers himself financially savvy, and he wants to be, like I said, a power couple. He wants someone who's spirited, and enthusiastic. So after we meet all the couples, then they meet each other, which I thought was a really interesting, dynamic. So the women seem to be cool, there's no awkwardness like it was last season with Lindsay and Alyssa. Yeah, so Lindsay and Alyssa, they got off on a bad foot, even at the bachelorette party, and it never took off, for them. But the women seem to be filling each other out and seem to be cool, and so with the guys, which I actually, appreciate. And then so they showed us a scene with the clothes shopping. So they only showed us two couples. No, they only showed us one couple, I think, this time. And that was Alexis and Justin. So Alexis, she picked out a dress that I thought was really, appropriate, for her. Her friends seemed to appreciate, her choice. It took her a minute because she wanted to be more conservative, and then they kind of encouraged her to blend the two. So she got some of what she kind of wanted, and then they saw some of the Alexis that they know also featured in her choice at the same, time, which I thought was cute. I don't like Justin's choice of his tuxedo. I have to say, if he was going to go with one, I would have preferred that he stayed with the white, because the gray black that he chose, I no, I wasn't impressed. But so we're at the bachelorette and the bachelor parties. And so the women, again, some people, I looked and they saw that they thought that the women's bachelorette party was kind of boring. But I thought it was cute. I mean, it seemed like they were trying to, have fun with what they were working with. And I'm not one to judge, who's having fun. I mean, your fun might not be my fun, but if it's fun for you, okay, fine. Yeah, I don't have a problem, And it looked like it was fun for them. So I'm not going to interject, what I think is fun, onto them. But the guys, so there were two. There were two things that I actually, saw. It was Justin and his brother. His brother, again, asserted how he disapproved of what Justin was doing, and it caused an argument, and that kind of, brings down the mood. So if you're of a mindset that is of a negative, and you're supposed to be in a celebratory environment, just go home. Take a gift, give a hug, have a drink, do the cheers, and then go home. Don't, bring everybody else down because of some stuff, that you got going on, in your mind. And so Justin said that afterwards, him and his brother, they got together, they, hashed it out, and they got, past that moment. It was still uncomfortable, and I think unnecessary, because his brother had already let him know when he told him that he was getting married that he wasn't interested, and I think that was enough. It wasn't, it's Justin's life and it's his decision, so his brother's gonna have to respect that, period. And sometimes we can get we can kind of get ahead. We can get ahead of the situation because we're so comfortable speaking about another person's life and what we think they're supposed to be doing, when there's that time when you need to recognize it. You have to step back and let them make their own decisions, whether you agree with them, or not. So, Justin said that he didn't feel like his brother, was giving him that level of support. And so when it was time for them to actually, get married, it was the wedding day, his brother seemed like he was really trying to step up and give him that level of energy that he needed to get to the altar so that he could, meet his bride and start his journey, start this married at first sight journey. So I actually thought that was really great. And so I have down here picking the ring. So everybody, they actually showed us this time, with the guys picking the ring. And they all went on JamesAllen.com, which is a running joke because we never heard of JamesAllen.com before last season when Steve decided that he wanted to get this ring, for his, the person that he got married to. Nobody thought that it was wise for him to buy this ring, but this is what he decided that he wanted to do, and he did it with JamesAllen.com. And a lot of people felt like that was a commercial, for the jewelry company. And so we have them, showing up again. And so I'm going to, show you guys an example of what I'm talking about, that we see. It's like a foreshadowing. It's a foreshadowing, and I hope that Stasia and Nate, can get it together. I'm concerned about them. I'm concerned about Christian and Mitch, and I'm really concerned about who is it? Alexis and Justin. Really, really, really. So yeah, I'm gonna play this video. And then I'm going to close this one out.
I'm definitely a freak. I'm not going to hold that back. Come on. All right, he next. The strippers were intimidating. The whips and everything. Like, I'm scared. I hope my wife isn't into stuff like that.
Morgan is so spunky and so surprising. And she was a little quiet at first, but I was like, I know that there's more. I'm here for it. Her husband, he's in for a really good time.
How are you going to connect with, this total stranger who's suddenly your wife now?
I grew up on the corner as a youngin', straight from the block, I've been hustling.
Do you prefer a pretty boy?
Or like rough around the edges.
Tattoos.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like the problem with me is like I've been trying to get that fairy tale with my thug, right? That's been my problem. I like the little rough.
Yes.
I like the tattoos. I like that little edge. You know what I mean? But I also like well put together, clean cut.
So this is Stasia, and the guy that's doing the thing with the stripper is her fiance, Nate.
Attention from like other females.
That's what I'm talking about. Come on, get comfy, baby. Get comfy.
I love it. Okay. I love it. I would not be insecure at one bit if he was getting attention, looks from other women. What upsets me is when the boundary is crossed because he's inviting it in and he's communicating and he's not setting the boundary with those women.
Get on your knees. Right now.
What upsets me is when the boundary is crossed because he's inviting it in and he's communicating and he's not setting the boundary with those women.
Get on your knees. Right now.
And that's when my issue becomes with him, not them.
You're gonna get on your knees.
I think his wife may take issue with some of the behavior seen tonight.
Now he's ready to get married.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So, how would you guys?
Yeah. So just looking at a potential issue as we go through the season. Wanted to, highlight that. So, I invite you guys to ride with me, and see where all of this goes. And until the next video,